Do you feel like I was a good listener or not really?
I feel like you're running for...
Most of the
I feel
days.
like you're running for mayor here. You sound very optimistic.
I am running for mayor.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing this like really beautiful experience. Now, Harper, I just want to start with you and ask, like, how are you feeling? I know it's a big thing to give to the world, and it's been this incredible process for you. And how are you doing?
Nervous. I feel nervous. Yeah.
Have you? I mean, obviously, you've seen the final cut of the film, and you premiere very soon. Is there anything you're anticipating for afterwards, for reactions on the other side?
I think I've said it before, I don't enjoy looking at myself that much, but I'm very proud of the film. I think it's very honest.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I want everyone to feel that. And if they do, that's what we did it for.
Well, can you talk a little bit about that extraordinary email you got from Harper that could have sort of kicked off this whole journey?
Yes. It was 3 summers ago.
Yes.
Now? In which Harper emailed a lot of her close friends with the headline subject. Here's a weird one. Always the comedy writer, and she went on to explain that she was going to transition, and we were all, of course, excited to hear the news, surprised to hear the news, and it. But not, obviously, all of us were extremely supportive, expressed that support and love, and whatever you need us to do. But that started opening the questions of like, how can we help you? What do you need us to do?
Well, what was your sort of, I guess, baseline knowledge of the trans experience before this very personal? It's actually very personally.
Baseline knowledge?
Yeah.
0. Yeah, I really, I know I'd met trans people before. I didn't have anyone personally in my life. So this was all, new territory for me, which is why I think this piece is so exciting for us to kind of put out there in the world, because I think it's a chance for, all of us in the cis community to be able to kind of ask questions that I know for me, it was a chance for me to ask questions that I know, and to also just to listen and to be there as a friend to discuss this journey.
Sure. I mean, first of all, I love the...
Did you feel like I was a good listener or not really?
I feel like you're running for...
Most of the days.
I feel like you're running for mayor here. You sound very optimistic.
I am running for mayor.
Yeah. By the way, I just want to point out, he did say an extraordinary email.
Yes.
What would you say?
Well, I mean, in terms of... Craft? No. We're very workmanlike.
Okay.
But in terms of the announcement, extraordinary. Work lady.
No one's immune to notes.
Yeah.
Harper, so I love the framework of the film, that it's a road movie.
Yeah.
And Harper, you said something that I can't sort of shake off, is that I feel like maybe many people feel at present day, is that you love this country, but you're not sure if it loves you back.
Yeah, I think that's where sort of my, the story of this movie is one where, and we don't have to tell it unless you ask it, but I mean,
yeah,
it's
please.
Will proposing an idea based on the knowledge that I love to road trip back and forth around the country. And for me, the decision to kind of ultimately do it after a bit of a wait period was fascinating to me. Like, I believe, I do know, I mean, if we read the news, let's put it that way, trans people are not everyone's favorite in this country. And I was just curious how I would be received in a place that I've spent so much time in. you know.
Was there ever a moment where you felt legitimately fearful?
No, I felt in the movie, you'll see there is a moment where I felt very creeped out. I mean, that's the right word? I don't know what the word is. I never felt unsafe. I was with Will, which makes things safer.
She felt unsafe when I was driving.
Yes, that is true. But
because I'm a narcoleptic.
Yeah, Will is.
Yes.
Yes, and if you watch,
I don't even have a driver's
if
license.
you watch the movie and it looks like Will drove half the time, that is not the case. No, not again. I was with Will, which I've often pointed out is not a normal trans experience for someone going out in the middle of the country.
Yeah.
You're with a celebrity that, what,
super strong and handsome.
I was going to say, what, 8% of the country know?
Like The Bodyguard.
It's I'm known in 8% of the country. Yes, yes.
But you're with someone who, like, obviously is like, you're right. It's like a bodyguard almost.
Exactly.
And so, but there were a few moments where I felt a lot of fear, and then there was the one particular moment where I felt not comfortable.
Yeah.
You know.
Given how incredible your friendship and how long your friendship is, I was sort of thinking about, you know, obviously transitioning is a heavy lift, but like in any moments in friendship, so, you know, you have kids and someone's parent dies, you move away. Is there anything you guys find in your friendship now that the dynamic has changed because of this, that's for the better or has levity or just feels better? Not that the old dynamic was bad, but, you know, that just in the evolution of this, like what feels right about your friendship now?
Will invited me to his Christmas party this year, which I thought was really sweet.
First time.
I think it's because I've been out of town my whole life, so I'm
Right.
I'm going to give you a pass on that one.
Yeah.
I think the movie tells that story. I think the movie tells a story of a cis friend of a transitioning person has to go through a transition themselves, and so that means the friendship transitions some, you know. And I feel like we got to a better place of understanding how both of us feel about each other. And
Yeah.
I don't know, does that
Yeah, it was
sound-
all. I mean, we always. There was always a strong friendship there. There was always a strong working relationship.
Sure, yeah.
Friendship through our work, friendship through comedy, and you know this 17 days out on the road, really, you know, 16 hours a day, really discussing both of our lives and really listening in depth to what Harper had gone through, how she got to this point, how she was brave enough to get to this point. I think it changed both of us just to be that stronger of friends.
Sure. Harper, was Will's trailer bigger than yours, or? No.
Will did a very noble thing and tried to make it seem like it was an egalitarian shoot. I mean, I knew deep down how hard that was for him.
Look, I stayed at the comfort suite.
Oh, yeah.
We all, I would check in and then I would go out the back door.
Get a helicopter.
And go to the Four Seasons.
We stayed. It's not in the
No,
documentary.
we stayed
on a Navajo reservation in a little mud hut, which was wonderful. Hogan, which was wonderful. But the accommodations were even below my standards.
No, it was in the best possible way a real road trip.
Yeah.
And
Did you? I mean, especially as people who come from sketch, and that's how did you find you took to the nonfiction format? Like, I'm sure you guys, when you worked together, used to like jumping into the game of the sketch, and you've been in narrative film and TV for so long. Like, how did you find that just the genre, the category of doc?
you know, it is strange being the subject of a documentary. It's a little artificial at first, and then around the third day you do forget the cameras are there, and then strangely you almost cross over and you're just completely free and comfortable.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think in some ways it was really refreshing. Just as I think Harper comments, like, you rarely get that much time with a family member, a friend, or whatever, just to really kind of talk about everything that we wanted to focus on. At the same time, we couldn't help ourselves to steer it back towards comedy throughout the piece, which is why I think it works so well.
So we could now pitch you maybe to Bravo. You're so comfortable with the cameras everywhere. Like,
This, I believe, is my last documentary. Yes.
Oh no, we're taking over for Andy Cohen.
Yeah.
Yes, you damn well should. Speaking of comedy, Harper, you were again, I was so moved by stuff you said, like, struggling with this through your whole life. You tried to get rid of it. I think was one of your direct quotes over and over again.
Yeah.
Do you think that how was the environment in comedy? Is it even like when you guys were coming up, was it even conceivable to you that you could maybe even have thought about transitioning in those days?
Comedy is awful. Yeah, it's an awful environment. I loved it. I'm not completely, I don't want to go one way or the other on that because I love comedy.
Yeah.
But when I started, especially, it was a very male-oriented world. All my rooms were male, I think. SNL was a slight difference. Mm-hmm. My third or fourth year there, Tina came in and became the head writer pretty quickly, and you got a shift that I thought was really neat that happened to the show, because we had come in at a period at SNL that was, I think, a little more aggressively male. And then when we came in, I feel like it was like a slightly younger generation maybe, or just people that were like sort of navigating some changes. Mm-hmm. Again, not big changes at that point, but I could see an evolution, and Tina and Amy were such a force, and Paula Pell, and all these great female writers came in, Emily Spivey, and it just added to the depth of the show. So I think, but because I was desperately hanging on to being who I was and not being who I wanted to be, it was always a fraught situation,
Sure. And to that end, with the current discourse around comedy, with stuff like Dave Chappelle and those kind of jokes, how does that strike you?
I mean, I support trans people, so and I'm really not going to go over a soundbite on Dave Chappelle. I mean, I don't like. I'm a comedian as much as I am a trans person. A trans person is obviously a more political thing in our society, but I didn't like his comedy before, and that's a very specific kind of thing. It's not about the trans stuff. It's not about anything. So I don't really watch it. So it wasn't. So no, I am avoiding questions that are going to put me in the middle of a.
That's very fair. What do you mean?
Yeah,
It's the easiest questions in the world.
Yeah.
I would love to know. Have you two talked about maybe doing something else together now? And how do you feel creatively now?
I feel great. I mean, it's changed a little bit for sure. I think Harper Steele was writing with me all along, so I don't think it's radically different. But yeah, we will work together again. I mean, big news break. We've got a huge film coming out.
We are.
What's it called?
Oh no, I didn't hear about that.
No, I don't.
We're doing we got booked on a cruise ship.
Yeah.
So we're going to be doing
the
panel
Comfort
discussions.
Suites boat, like the Comfort Suites
The
cruise
food is
version.
amazing. No, we will work together. Will and I worked our whole life. We'll find a project somewhere down the road to work. I'm positive. And
But you're alluding to on camera.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
oh, that's not happening.
Come on.
No, that's not
Come on.
happening.
So funny.
Exactly. I
that's not
think you should
happening.
spend your time, spend your flight home considering it. And just thank you for your story, and thank you for sharing it, and for both of you for bringing it to the world. And cheers. Thank you.
Yeah.
Last shot of the day, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you.